Hello and welcome to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. I am finally home. That's what it feels like to sit in this chair and do this show for all of you after a couple weeks off, man. Great to be back.
The road weary Gary Morgan is here, and traveling used to be fun, but my God, anymore when you have to go and be out of your own bed and you can't walk around in your boxers anymore, and well, you can, but it's just I need my bed, I need my pillow, I need all that.
At least
all
it's
those
not
comforts.
the old days where you used to have to like get all dressed and head to the elevator and go down 16 floors to walk outside to suck down a dart. Like the travel has gotten better. That's all I'm gonna say in some ways, but like when it's like stacked, it doesn't matter how nice it is anymore. You're tired of everything you see. Wallpaper sucks. You start critiquing the artwork in hotel rooms. It just turns you into a weird creature of the night. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. Well, at least you had some baseball going on, like for
yeah,
because at night you're by yourself. What are you going to do? Go out and eat, and then what? And then so you've had some postseason baseball games. I'm sure you've been able to keep track of and sit and watch. I'm sure that helped pass the time a little bit.
sure, man. The baseball's been fun. We should talk about that first. Let's knock it right out.
All right.
Let's get into the ALCS and the NLCS, even though, man, we haven't talked since it was wild card round.
Yeah, right.
So really, if there's anything that you want to highlight from the entire road here, that's cool. Do it. But I'll start backwards. I'll start with where we are right now. The Dodgers are right so far embarrassing the Brewers. It looks awful so far. And the Brewers have probably thrown their two best pitchers at them to start. That's not great. Man, the luxury of having a guy like Blake Snell that you can afford to pay like $30 million, knowing he's hurt, to just sit around and then all of a sudden kind of have spring training towards the end of the season and then be the most fresh version of Blake Snell that he's ever been. They're letting him do things that he's never been allowed to do in his entire career in the playoffs.
Pitch.
He's going 8
longer.
innings.
Yeah.
8 innings faced the minimum. Ouch. In the playoffs, bro. That's not fun.
No, this is where good story meets reality, right? With this series, it's tough, and yeah, it's kind of like you mentioned about the pitching with the Dodgers is they've kind of been able to do that with several of their pitchers, and it reminds me of kind of like a team that knows they're gonna in the NFL that knows they're gonna get to the playoffs, and they take it a little easy on the running back, like pacing themselves for that.
Right.
And then when the postseason comes, then you can give them those 25, 30 touches, and they're fresher than everybody else.
Or you never send that star wide receiver across the middle, not once.
Right? Yeah, you can get them some rest here and there, and that's. Dodgers have a lot of luxuries. That's one in the basket among many.
It's such an important one. Like entering the playoffs, they didn't have a single starter entering with more than 90 innings pitched.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's such an advantage, and I don't think it's an advantage a lot of us were thinking of as we were kind of watching the Dodgers struggle to put it all together this season. Relatively speaking, because they're a good team. They were always a good team, but they didn't look like a super team. And it was because that pitching staff wasn't right. It was injured all year long, and I think we kind of forgot it was going to come back together.
Yeah, and I think too, like the bullpen, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think the bullpens had their ups and downs. So
Oh
like
yeah.
they've been able to remove that from the equation. And yeah, it's only a matter of time. Mookie Betts didn't have a good year, but playoffs come around. My money's on those types of dudes. Like they're
Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, yeah, those types, right?
yeah, so you
Will
know,
Smith. Will Smith is the most underrated playoff. He might be one of the most underrated players in the game. He anchors the catching position. He's a stalwart defender, and he's one of the most clutch bats in that entire lineup. He really is.
Will Smith, Kiki Hernandez is another dude
Yeah,
that comes to mind. Tommy Edman, like when you have the players that they do, and then those guys are doing their jobs, and then some. It that's tall order. I think the Brewers are obviously in trouble, clearly, and it just doesn't seem like they've been in either of those first two games, and I don't know that that's going to change a whole heck of a lot the
I
rest of the
like
way.
their bounce back. They are a gritty team. I don't think they're just going to lay down and die, but it's almost like you start getting run over by a steamroller. It kind of doesn't matter that you want to keep fighting. I just feel like that's where we're at with that series, unless something really drastic changes. Somebody has to have like a foot down moment for the
Yeah,
Brewers.
right.
Um,
And good.
it's just a fun series, and I think we just proved we're not Dodgers haters just because they spend a lot of money. It's still fun seeing a super team put together. You know what I mean? Like it's a great team, and I think just as great a team right now, at least playing like it. The
Oh, yeah.
Mariners, bro. The Mariners
Well,
look great.
but before we get there, let me ask you this question. Do you think Brewers fans are going to be satisfied? Like, because they've had such trouble winning anything in the playoffs. If they lose this series, do Brewers fans feel good about this, or are they still not happy because they fell a step short?
They're not going to be happy. In fact, they kind of low key weren't real top of the mountain happy this whole season because they all I think felt a lot of what I felt before the playoffs started. The Brewers probably going to run out of steam, or not have the power to match swing for swing, and that's kind of what's happened to them. I think they're lucky they squeaked past the Cubs. The Cubs almost outpowered them and
Yeah.
came back. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like this was what I expected to see play out for the Brewers. I don't disrespect them at all. I'm just saying I thought they were missing a couple things in the playoffs that were going to matter. And
Yep.
the Dodgers made it. If the Dodgers had gotten beaten, you know, maybe,
Yeah. Well,
maybe there's a chance against the Phillies. That's a different kind of matchup.
well, yeah, yeah, that changes things matchup wise. I think um, the ALCS has been more enjoyable for me to watch because I think like when I look at Toronto and Seattle, I kind of like hope they both win. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see both them in there for different reasons. And you know, I do enjoy watching Cal Raleigh play. Um, and I just feel like either one of those teams, it's hard for me to sit there and hope that the Brewers or Dodgers win, but Toronto and Seattle, I don't mind at all.
Look at Gil coming through with exactly why we're on at 5 instead of 8 tonight with Jim and I.
Gil, let's go Steelers. Yeah, Gil,
Yeah.
you know what this is all
Yeah,
about.
yeah. We can't hide it. I know we never. The funny thing is, we never let Pirate games get in the way of us doing a broadcast live. We just, for the Steelers, we got to make sure we're off, right?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, Jim. I want to talk a lot more about the ALCS. Let's take a quick break and come back and do that.
Sure.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Hey, welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. Hit us with a like or a subscribe. There's way more of you that watch than who hit the like button. That would be cool if those numbers were a little closer to each other. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, come on, don't be stingy.
Yeah, it takes a second. I'm just saying. Anyways, ALCS, I agree with you. Big Dumper is the show for me, but I respect what the Mariners did. I think they're a great example of how a smaller market team can and should go about trying to do this. They did. It's taken them way longer than they wanted it to. Believe me, they wanted to be here 3-4 years ago. The Astros were just too damn good. You know, the Astros were a team they just could not get past. And they built a team this year that I think really would have had a shot against some of those prime Astros teams. It's taken them a long time, but they have developed that pitching staff. They've acquired some of it. They've held on to some of it by extension. They've gone and traded for big pieces like Randy Arozarena, like you suggested last year, Jim. They've gotten guys like
Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez when they needed him.
They've just taken the next step in a lot of different directions, is what you're saying, which is necessary when you get to this point.
They
right?
extended a young kid, like we always suggest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they've done some really, really smart things for a team like this. Their payroll is not exorbitant. It probably can't be held together for all that long. You know, good luck paying Cal Raleigh whenever you get to that point if he keeps playing like this.
Sure.
But they're to be respected to me. I love that. The Blue Jays are trying like hell to be one of the big market teams, you know? I don't think they can. But this is one of their best shots. And they're getting career years from some guys that haven't had them recently. So
yeah, and they've done it without Bichette. Vladdy is I don't know what it is with Vladdy. I think everybody knows how good he is, but maybe we just don't see him enough. You know what I mean? Maybe people just don't get to see him enough because
he's not consistently that good. That's why. I mean, he is good. He's always good. But sometimes he's Vladdy. And sometimes he's Vlad. I mean, come on. What's he doing? You know, he hasn't hit a home run in 2 months here. You know, and he goes into those spells, and I think it takes his star power away. It doesn't diminish what he can do, I think, like in an individual series or 3-4 weeks or whatever. But
sure, but when
it's easy to miss him.
When he's great, that turns them into a different team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Gary, I wanted to ask you about this because, you know, it's not just this year. Isn't it funny how baseball throughout the regular season, you don't see the bunts and you don't see the pitchers going super long. They'll take guys out. You don't see a lot of this stuff, and then the postseason rolls around, and man, you got guys. They're attempting to bunt, trying to move runners over. You know, Blake Snell's pitching 8 innings. Like, isn't it weird a little bit that like the things that everyone says doesn't matter or shouldn't matter, and even these teams behave like this, when it gets to the postseason, it's like we teleport back in time a little bit and start seeing all this stuff. Like, I guess, like, to me, it's just a strange phenomenon when we watch. Have you noticed that? What do you think about it?
I mean, I noticed some of it, Jim, but I don't notice a lot of, you know, real deep impact starting pitchers all the time. I think there's 3 or 4 who kind of survive, and or are old enough and been around long enough that they can do that sort of thing, and they know their arm won't fall off the next day. You have to be in a real sweet spot to get to that point. Like, I have no doubt that, like, when and if the Pirates get there, I know, hold your laughter, but when and if the Pirates get there, Paul Skeens would play a featured role, and he'd probably go deep into games, right? Because he's a horse. That's the kind of guy he is. Keller probably would too. He'd be able to give you the innings. But there's not a lot of guys that have that experience to begin with. That's why we were talking about that Dodger advantage. Here's where it is. That's why they can let Blake Snell go like later into a game. Yamamoto, same thing. That's the only reason we're seeing it. I don't think it's a strategy change as much as they're emptying the tank now. There's only so many innings left.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I do think you try to see more of the situational hitting, though. Maybe that's
What about that? There's a little bit less swinging for the fences in all situations, right?
Yeah, trying to put the ball in play. You're seeing guys at least attempt to bunt guys over, things of that nature. It's just funny that, like, to me, some of that stuff that's been totally almost eradicated from the game.
Yeah.
It's funny when things really start to matter and there's no tomorrow, or there's very few tomorrows. Boy, you start seeing some of that come back into things. And
you see how unprepared they are for it too when they do get it. Like the one bunt we did see, right back to the mound, right? And what did he do? He threw it to remember he screwed the whole play up for the Phillies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how that series ended. I mean, that's a situation where, like, how often does he see that? How often is somebody doing that?
Well, and they don't practice this stuff.
So you talk about, like, the offense never trying it. The defense never practices it either. So it works more, I think, in the playoffs when it actually is executed, because nobody's ready for it.
Yeah. No, the Dodgers executed a wheel play to perfection. But again, you got veterans, and they all got on the mound together and figured out what they were going to do, and they planned it. Yep. God forbid I feel sorry for a Phillies player, but I did feel bad for that pitcher because, man, he just panicked. He just totally panicked. He did not field the ball cleanly, and he absolutely just crapped his pants. And,
I mean, I'll say this though, for that series, bro, I felt about the Phillies' chances of winning, even if they came back in that game, about how I do about the Brewers right this second. I honestly felt like the steamroller was already kind of cresting a little bit.
Yeah. And they were hanging on by not a thread, but they were clearly behind in that series.
So what did you think of the Cubs and Brewers series? Did you watch any of that?
I did. Tell you what, the Cubs were a team that I don't think anybody would have been thrilled to play in the postseason. I think the Brewers were extremely fortunate to get past them.
I think so.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to remember, what was the 15-inning game? Was that Detroit and Seattle? A game that went 15 innings. That was I can't believe I can't remember which teams were in that game. All I remember is I stayed up for that whole game, and God, was I a zombie the next day. But that was epic. The funny thing is thank God there are no ghost runners in the playoffs. Can you imagine them doing that?
Yeah, that would be awful. I mean, for real, that would be awful. I don't know. The playoffs have been entertaining. I've liked them. Let's just do a quick prediction here. Who wins these series? Because we got to move on to a new subject. This is the Pirates fan forum after all. So, ALCS, I'll go with Seattle. And NLCS, I think I'm pretty clear Dodgers, right?
Yeah. I'll give Toronto a puncher's chance against Seattle. I'll be different. I'll say Dodgers and Toronto. I think that might be the series that ultimately I would like to see more. But Seattle or Toronto is who I'd like to see take it all the way.
Would that be the equivalent of like the NHL finals with Edmonton and Florida? It's as far away as you can possibly get from the other one, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't have to have any second thoughts about hoping Toronto or Seattle do anything. Feels weird to root for the Brewers. The Dodgers, to me, are somebody maybe we should be rooting for them to win every World Series at this point.
I'll tell you what, if it's Mariners Dodgers, there's going to be an awful lot of very conflicted Japanese Seattle citizens. I'm just going to say that because
Yes.
they love Shohei, and I'm sure they love their Mariners. So that's going to be difficult for some people, I would imagine.
That's a good point.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Emerson Valdez and what he's been doing in the Arizona Fall League, because we often talk about the bats we don't have, or even the bats we don't think we see coming. Well, this is one that I don't think either of us counted on heading into last year, and I heard some buzz about him, but like nothing like what he put on paper this year. He was unbelievable. He flew through the system up to Double-A. He's age appropriate for Double-A. Like he's caught up. Like if he was behind before, he's caught up now. If he was a 40-man bubble guy before he went to the Arizona Fall League, he ain't no more. I mean, they got to protect the kid. He's had 4 hits. They're all homers.
Yeah.
He's had 10 walks. He's only had 12 official at-bats because nobody wants to pitch to him, and when they do, he puts it over the wall.
Really.
What can you say?
Yeah, they'd be insane at this point not to protect him.
That's a corner outfielder type, man. That.
Yeah.
That's an area of need. I'm not saying you're going to rush the kid, but very clearly he's going to get invited to spring training. He's going to be on the 40-man, and I think starts in AAA. That could be help at some point next year, legitimately. Help that I wasn't thinking about.
Well, this is what they need, though, right? Some guys kind of like come out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but like,
you need to convert on some of these.
Yes.
Yes.
And not just
to convert.
And not just highly rated guys. Like it can't be just that. You have to be able to make some gains in some areas where guys just kind of overshoot their projections and turn into really good, solid players. He's got power for days. His exit velocity numbers, everyone settle down. I know how people feel about exit velocity, but that's there. I think he's 20 or 21. He's still got time to improve. Like
for a right-hander, the power will play at PNC. It's like it's not borderline power. It's power.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking like this kid will be clanging them off the rotunda.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we haven't had a right-handed power bat like that in a minute. So
yeah, and the one thing I would like to get into, and I haven't yet, is like clearly like the swing and miss. Like how much does he swing and miss? Strikeout to walk ratios.
That's kind of been the drag this year. That's been the thing that people have been talking about. But it's not happening right now. That said, it's a different league. Who knows what pitchers he's facing? These aren't like all guys that just are close to the league or 40-man consideration. It's sometimes like an injured draft pick that only got in 30 innings this year, and they want to make sure he gets another 20 before they shut him down for the year. That's what this is for some teams. For the Pirates, it tends to be a proving ground sometimes for whether they want to put you on the 40-man or not, and that innings thing. That's why they sent so many pitchers. But
right. But this is the critical point, though. We're like, can we get him over the hump, right? Like because clearly he's not a finished product. How do you get him to that next step? And this is always seems to be the problem, right here, that all of a sudden there is no more progression and things start showing up with a player and they never quite figure that part out.
Well, like we saw him in Altoona too, and I mean we saw him like make absolutely no contact like all night. And I'm starting to wonder if that was basically about the way he was being pitched.
Yeah, I mean, could be. I think he's somebody that like these guys too, like clearly you go to one game and I mean, it's baseball. You could look great and you could look terrible. So it's hard to take away anything from one game. But I mean, clearly the power's there. He does strike out a good bit, but those things like we'll be okay with that as long as his hard hit rates and his contact rates are enough and the home runs are enough.
Yeah. Point is, I think that's a guy that could kind of kick his way into the conversation next year, and I wasn't expecting it. So it's an extra piece that I'm kind of just happy is there. Should be an interesting ride the rest of the way for the Arizona Fall League for him. At some point, you would think like somebody has to start just challenging him, because I think the coaches are going to want to start seeing that, from some of the pitchers.
Sure.
Because I don't. That's not really a league where you're trying to. I'm not saying there's no strategy or you're not trying to win the game or anything, but it's very much so an exercise league. You want to see guys challenged and everything. It's already weird to kind of see him being pitched around the way he is. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I expect that to change. And if he gets challenged a little bit more, I'd like to see him challenged with more spin. I think that was his problem with strikeouts.
Yeah, and I that doesn't surprise me at all, right? Because that's, I think most guys can hit fastballs and velocity. It's all
Right.
the other stuff that plays off of that gives guys problems. So, spring training, it'd be great to get a peek at him, and I suspect we will get a peek at him. So,
Right. Good stuff there, man. I really enjoy the Arizona Fall League. I only made it to one game while I was down there, and it wasn't the Pirates affiliate that they were on. I couldn't make that happen. But it was fun. I liked it. Neat to see. I think the part that nobody really thinks about, at least because we don't have a spring training team down there. I've never been to Arizona where all those complexes are. I didn't realize how many ballparks were like a 20-minute Uber ride from each other. Like it's kind of crazy. It's surreal, actually. I mean, like if you like had just a pass, you could literally just hop from game to game to game all day long. That would be fun. Might actually do that sometime if I could survive that heat for more than a couple days.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of parks to go to, and I had actually researched this like last year or the year before, because I thought we were going to be taking a trip out that way, and I was like, clearly you could get to a ton of stuff in very little. In if you had 2 or 3 days to do it, you could probably catch 4 or 5 games if you wanted to.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of fun out there. I enjoyed it. I mean, that part of it anyway. Baseball's fun. So the Pirates have also kind of had some weird news, right? Gold Glove nominations. We have to celebrate. Jared Triolo, a second straight Gold Glove nomination for a utility player. I have to think he's going to win it. Jim, I really do. I think he will, just if only because that's kind of how these Gold Glove winning things go. He didn't do anything to lose it, and he'll probably keep it. And then Tommy Pham. What else can you say but well earned, man? For real. He really did play excellent defense. It wasn't just in our heads. I thought for a minute maybe we were overcompensating a little bit. Like trying to make ourselves feel better about it. No, he actually really was that damn good out there.
Well, yeah, and I think that position in particular in PNC Park will expose you. And so there's nothing fluky about it, Gary. He wasn't playing as deep on things, which is something that I think that he wanted to not do anymore. Gets good reads on the baseball, good throws, good instincts. You know, he was super consistent out there this year. So very reminiscent of the Corey Dickerson, right? Where all of a sudden you get a guy get a Gold Glove out of nowhere. I think he has a good
Yeah,
shot at it too, actually.
that's a good pull there. That's a good pull there, I think, Corey Dickerson. And it was largely by doing the same thing that Tommy Pham did. He really just committed to never letting a ball get past him in left field. Like that was it. He's just never gonna let it happen. And he uncorked the ball instantaneously as soon as he got it. No matter
Yeah.
what, the ball was gonna head towards the infield where the cutoff man was supposed to be, come hell what may.
Right.
You're not going to get in any trouble that way, at least. And if you're a reasonably good athlete, which, hey, how can you not credit a guy like that? He stayed upright, played a lot of defense. If anything, I thought maybe he didn't play enough to get this nomination. Just didn't play enough of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't complain. Well earned, right? Well, do you want him back?
I'm sitting here as we're doing this topic, and that was what was popping into my head. Geez, Gary.
It doesn't have to be as a starter. And now before I say that, your head's gonna go right where mine does. If they pay him, they'll make him start, right? And he's certainly not gonna want less money next year. He had a decent season, right? So he's gonna probably want 6 or something. Now you're paying more. And I'm already uncomfortable with Sam, but I don't think this is Kutch. I don't think he's coming back for $5 million.
Yeah. I guess he would be my plan B or C. I would hope that they could upgrade there slightly, but it'll be interesting to see what the market is. Honestly, it's going to be interesting to see what the market is in general. Just what is going to happen this offseason with the contracts and teams and what they're willing to dole out when we know what's coming soon. I think it's going to be I think this is going to be the hardest offseason to predict, but I really wouldn't be surprised if you see it be very, very light and teams way less willing to take risks on anything more than maybe 1 or 2 year deals right now.
Yeah, and I think the player option after the first year is becoming a much, much, much more popular approach. Like you saw, that's what Alex Bregman did in Boston, and I think you could see that becoming a requirement for anything even above like a mid-tier free agent at this point. I think the players want the out of the contract. The funny thing is the way that agents have started to structure these contracts with all these outs from both sides and everything. They sure are acting like people that want to be involved in a cap league, because that's exactly what you have to make a cap work. A ton of ways to get out of shit. I mean, and if they don't want that, they should probably quit acting like it, right? Because the guaranteed contract is really your only thing that you're going to lose.
Yeah, and it's almost like two sides come to an agreement, but they don't really trust each other. They want some options,
or they want to make sure that they're every second that they play for their career are making the most they could possibly make. Because I mean, that's what's being preached to them. It's what's being preached in the NFL too. That's why you see Micah Parsons holding out and causing all that drama to get traded up to Green Bay so he could get that contract, or TJ Watt tucking his wiener because he isn't the top paid outside linebacker for 5 seconds, or Myles Garrett once traded because he's not the top paid linebacker for 5 seconds. And all the stuff we said AB was all along, they all are now in all sports. And I mean, I find it distasteful. It's the worst part of watching sports. I hate it. I don't want to talk about money. I just don't.
Yeah.
I want to watch sports, you know, and it sucks
Well,
that you have to.
well, let's take this a step further then. Could an off season, a season before a potential work stoppage, benefit the Pirates at all, or does it matter? Doesn't it matter?
I'm trying to think of a way that it might. Like, you're asking the question, and I'm trying to like hope that I can come up with some brilliant way that yes, it's an advantage or disadvantage really for the Pirates. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, if only because eventually contracts are going to have to be paid anyway.
Yeah.
You know, the guys get paid one way or another. No matter how they come out of this, they're all going to get paid.
But
And
what if it's more of the 1 year, 2 year variety? I guess it's not the money. It's
well,
not.
I'm saying if you came out of it with a salary cap, you're not going to care about all that anymore. Like
right.
you're stuck with like a $4 million contract, but so what? You have to add salary probably if you're the Pirates in a friggin' hurry. So what do you care about getting stuck with something?
Yeah.
If you're really going for a cap, screw it, because you know you're going to get to add 50 million quick.
What if they know they're not going to get a cap?
If they know they're not going to get a cap, then I would hope that the owners are smart enough to not allow a lockout to happen. If you know you're not going to get one, don't go for it. You don't go for it on 4th and 10, you go for it on 4th and 2. You know, if you think you can get across the finish line, you go for it. If you don't do it. You know, you don't cost us any games then. Status quo is better than you failing for a year. There's no reason to even have one. Hold the line basically with the threat has already been issued, so the players don't have the balls to ask for more. And keep it there and do some stupid luxury cap tightening or some deferred payment thing that you set up, or fix little things on the edges and don't even try it. If there is a lockout, I have confidence that the owners believe they can make it happen. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, this is totally open conversation. I think it could go a number of ways. I'm really curious to see how this offseason plays out in general with types of contracts, whatever. I don't think teams at the very top care, but most teams do in some way, shape, or form, right? They always have to, but now they would really have to, especially if they are serious about holding out and locking these players out.
I have a hilarious prediction before we take a break.
Okay. All right.
If there is a lockout and or strike in Major League Baseball, my prediction is it takes about 2 weeks of being locked out or on strike before Donald Trump is offering Steve Witkoff to help negotiate it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm just saying. It's gonna be hilarious.
I might sign up for that just to see it, just to see the circus.
It would certainly be fun. Let's take a quick break.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Welcome back to the Pirates Fan Forum here on DK Pittsburgh Sports Podcast Network. And happy birthday, Grandma Janice. Out of respect, I've quit counting for you. Jim, how you doing, brother?
I'm all right. I don't know Grandma Janice. I hope she has a great birthday.
I'm sure she will. Let's see. The Pirates also DFA'd some dude that never played for them, Kreidler, and they picked up another guy who may probably never play for them. These things don't mean anything. Like, I don't even pay any attention hardly to these waiver claim things like in the off season, because this is just usually guys that you're kind of hoping you're going to be able to squeak through. You know what I mean? These are usually guys you're hoping that you're going to be able to waive at an appropriate time when there's a ton of other options and they just kind of fall back in your lap.
Yeah. You know what I like in it too, Gary? It's like when you have a fantasy football team and you haven't made a move in a while and you're just kind of scouring the waiver wire, maybe looking just for some depth or something, right? Like you're just looking for some depth or just trying to get a long shot here or there, and you have some room to do it, so you do it, and nothing more. These things seem to get Pirates fans upset. I just don't. I have way. First of all, I'm past getting super upset about sports, but I have way more things to get upset about the Pirates if I choose to do so in general.
I do think that's actually something that we should talk about someday. Why do people just decide they want to spend so much of their time just pissed? I mean, man, it's sports. When I don't enjoy watching something, man, I just shut it off. I really mean that. Like, if it's making me angry, I'm out. You know, I'm sorry. I don't get that. And I don't let sports do that to me. I feel bad for people that do. I legitimately do. So somebody asked about the non-tender guys for the Pirates. And we should talk about these. The arbitration numbers are out. This is old news.
Sure.
But we missed last week and didn't really get a chance to talk about it together. Let's go through it. Dennis Santana, $3.4 million. Last year of arbitration, easiest decision in the world. You ask me.
Yeah.
I do not consider him a trade candidate. I see that as being counterproductive to being in the playoffs, period, stop. And anything that I think is
full
counterproductive to being in the playoffs, full period, stop, I'm going to go ahead and call out as not going to happen.
If anything, that number seems like a bargain for Santana at this point.
It does. I mean, if anything, I honestly, I like him as a pitcher enough and don't care about the role. By me saying that I want to keep Dennis Santana, I'm not saying he has to be the starter. I don't care. Or the closer. That doesn't matter to me.
Not at all. He's shown that he's capable of wearing several hats.
I would throw
very good.
I'd throw a 2-year contract at him. Just don't mess around with it.
I agree with you on that.
And I bet you could probably get him 2 years, $6 million, something like that. You probably get a bargain out of it. Johan Oviedo, $2 million. It's his second year of arbitration. Easy decision.
Yep.
No matter what role. If he winds up in the bullpen or a starter, $2 million is a no-brainer.
Right.
Oh, and I should say Martin is the one that asked here too. There you go. Thanks, Martin. Joey Bart. This is the first controversial one, I'd say. Mm-hmm. $2.7 million. This is his second year of arbitration. I wouldn't. I think they might, but I wouldn't. What about you?
Yeah. I probably would not, but I could also make an argument on the other side of why I might keep him. I do think offensively he probably will have a better year But defensively, there's enough concerns with him at this point that it's a little problematic, especially when you're hoping to win with pitching, that how much do you want him out there? Now, again, if you were talking about if he had a little bit of versatility, but he doesn't. So,
Yeah. I don't know how you use him.
Yeah.
I think that's my concern. I guess you could use him as a catcher. I don't understand why he couldn't be expected to improve defensively, but I didn't see him improve defensively as the season went on, and a lot of those issues were there. And maybe I make too much of it. I just feel like I just like the way he received the ball. I just felt like I watched it cost strikes. I'm not a fan of it. You got Flores. I think you're going to have to get at bats for. Can't give them all at first base because you got Horwitz.
He's the guy that kind of muddles this a little bit. And I mean that in a good way, because I think, obviously if there's something there with him and he's ready to hit at the major league level, I think this makes it an easier decision. My hope is that, like, Bart, look, he's not 35. He's 20, late 20s, 27, 28. We've seen other guys improve their game behind the plate if to an extent.
If they really work at it, right?
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting Bart's lazy or anything like that. I just, like, man, like, there are some things behind the plate that I think he could be better at, and I'd like to see that for sure.
How about Justin Lawrence, $1.2 million? Now, he was injured most of the season, so we didn't really get to see him all that much. $1.2 million for first year of arbitration for a guy that just got DFA'd off of a bad Colorado Rockies team, claimed by the Pirates. And barely, I'd pay it because to me that's ass white money. But I wouldn't be shocked to see the Pirates kind of come back with an even mill or 900K on that and feel pretty good about it. I mean, I think he would probably feel pretty good about it too. Honestly, I think that's probably an over projection.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic in the little bit we did see him.
Yeah.
I guess, like, how confident are you, that he's past the issues with his arm? And I feel like it's such a drop in the bucket money wise. I would definitely keep him. I think
they keep him one way or another. I'm just bickering about the money myself. Johan Ramirez.
Gary, Bob does not care about money, and money is no object.
Well, they have plenty of it. I mean,
yes.
Do they have enough? Enough.
Hey, there's been a chart floating around on the internet about all teams and their revenue and their payroll, and clearly everybody fully understands how all that works. So, yeah, money is no object.
Right. Johan Ramirez, 1.2, first year of arbitration. That's an easy no for me. Yeah. He's too up and down. I do appreciate the value that Johan Ramirez has provided in a couple different seasons for the Pittsburgh Pirates now. He has come in and eaten some ugly innings and performed pretty well almost 60% of the time. And
60% of the time it works every time, Gary.
Yeah, but I think he's an easy non-tender.
For sure.
Colin Holderman, first year of arbitration, $1.7 million somehow. Boy, Jim, I think he's kind of at non-tender territory here. Let
me say this about Colin Holderman. I think Colin Holderman will go somewhere else, and I think he's still going to have success. I just think his stuff was too good at one point. It's not been an injury thing. I think he'll go somewhere else and figure it out. It would not be here. I don't think, you're going to spend a couple $1 million to hope that it works out. I still think he'll figure it out.
I think I think of him a lot the way that I used to think about Clay Holmes. I really feel like they're very,
yeah, dude, that's really good.
I feel like they're very similar players. They both have those deadly sinkers that they had trouble controlling, that caused them to walk a ton of guys and everything. I don't think that they should keep him. I just think they have too many pitchers that are going to need places to go to do that. I don't think that it's worth the experiment anymore. I do think you're right though. Somebody is going to help him figure it out. But that happens with relievers all the time. Like look at I think the Dodgers are on year 2 with Anthony Bonda.
Mm-hmm.
It comes along when it comes along sometimes for a reliever, and
he'll be
that don't mean you don't gotta coach them for 5 years to get there.
Yeah, and he'll be instantly picked up.
That's how we got Dennis Santana off
right.
waivers.
Like, yeah. Like this is the deal, right?
Yeah.
They're a step away from kickers, like so he won't be out of work long. I would not bring him back.
I could even see them non-tender him and sign him to a minor league contract. You could see that happening too. And I say that only because his struggles have been so visible this year. He'd have to do some showcases for people or whatever to show that it's back. And even that, reportedly, he's fine in the side sessions and everything. It's just in the games, it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not something that I want to play with anymore.
Wouldn't surprise me as a player that you would say, you know what, I'll try it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes you just need that fresh start. It seems to be the perfect example of that.
All right, one more no-brainer, and then we go into one. Dowry Moretta, first year of arbitration, $800K, easy yes for me. I don't even fight that out if I'm them, if that's really what gets offered. Let's go Jack Sawinski here first. Jack Sawinski entering his first year of arbitration, $1.7 million. I don't know if they can afford to non-tender him yet, Jim, unless they are for sure that they're going to sign somebody that has center field capability. Because all they have is Alexander Canario, just by their own usage. Alexander Canario, Billy Cook, Ji-Hwan Bae, who is probably not a guarantee to, remain a Pirate either, right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know that I could cut loose from Jack Sawinski, right? Like, it might be worth that even if you stash him in AAA. I wouldn't pay him 1.7. I'd come back with something cheaper than that. But what do you think? Are you ready to just cut ties?
I think so.
Yeah.
I've held out as much as I can, I think, for Jack. Even if he goes somewhere else and finds some success, that's okay. I think I want to move on and direct my attention and resources elsewhere, and for maybe the same reason for that Colin Holderman is just to get him a fresh start. We'll look elsewhere and not even let it be part of the equation to distract me from getting better in certain areas.
Yeah, he's really probably, I'll tell you the career I see Jack Sawinski having. It's going to look a lot like Jesse Winker when he's done.
Okay.
He's going to go somewhere and pop off for a year, and he's going to get paid off based off of it for a year somewhere, and then he's going to fall off and disappear. Because that's kind of what happens to these guys. The power is so real, and he'll get on a heater at one point and hit a ton someplace and have a great season and get himself paid, and then that'll be it. But yeah, I agree with you. It might be time. I could see them tendering him. That's what I'm trying to kind of look from their perspective on.
Right. As we talk about it and what they'll do could be two different things and usually is.
I'm very worried about the center field aspect, if only because O'Neal Cruz isn't exactly the steadiest dude in the world anyway. Jack can straight up play center field. He's okay there. And they just don't have anybody else. If you bring it, like they have Griffin. I mean, that's what you got. If you're ready, okay, I'm ready. If you're ready, I'm ready.
I think we're all ready.
But I'm just saying. So let's talk about O'Neal Cruz. First year of arbitration, $3.6 million. 20 home runs, 38 stolen base. $3.6 million. I don't see much fighting on this, even though we kind of predicted there might be, based on the way he finished the season. I think his cumulative numbers were good enough that he probably avoids that. I think they probably eat this and just take the close to that 3.5, 3.6, something like that. Now, I might be inclined to go and offer the kid like a 3-year contract just to buy out the arbitration and not piss with it at all. I don't think they're creative or smart enough to do that, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. I think they'll just tender him.
Yeah, it's interesting too, like on his end, where is he thinking long term? He has to know things haven't worked out quite like he had hoped either, right? I think he was banking on the fact that he was going to be in for a huge payday. So both ends of that, you'd have to have some willingness. Would Cruz be willing to? I don't know. The money is a no-brainer. The best option, the best outcome here is still holding out hope that he figures it out. For the money, and you wouldn't trade him and get what you'd hope to get for him. You pay him it. You hope he figures it out.
I don't think there's any other option.
No.
Yeah, I mean this isn't a non-tender candidate. Now, and I got to be honest, if he has a repeat season, 20 home runs, almost 40 stolen bases, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'll be satisfied or think he's reached his potential or anything, but I also don't think I would be telling you next year that they should non-tender him. That's production.
Won't that be an interesting conversation if he kind of repeats the same exact thing next year? Where does that leave them?
All I'm saying is, like, just because he doesn't reach the heights of what you hoped he could doesn't mean that you can afford to flush what he has shown you he is. At least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll change my opinion entirely if come 2028 we're talking about O'Neal Cruz only hitting 20 home runs and it's time to get rid of him, and I've got 7 Connor Griffins standing around him like oak trees. I'll go, okay. I think you're right. It's time to move on from him. You know, like if the Phillies had 3 other guys that hit 45, 50 home runs this year, they're probably not as obsessed with making sure Kyle Schwarber comes back. And they're going to move heaven and earth to get Kyle Schwarber back. Anyone that thinks they're getting that guy is out of their minds.
Yeah, the O'Neal Cruz, man, this season, he's going to be under such a microscope, is he not? You know, he already is under one, but like now it's even more so.
You know what? Maybe let me just throw one angle on O'Neal Cruz out here and just kind of see if we can see a different vision. Okay, let's go Inception inside of our dream of what the future of O'Neal Cruz is.
Hold on, I gotta spin a top on the table here, Gary. Hold on. All right.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
So we're inside of our futuristic O'Neal Cruz, and we're very focused on O'Neal Cruz because he's this freakish talent that's going to lead us to the promised land, and he's going to hit 40 home runs and do all this stuff. Well, what if, like, in the future, O'Neal Cruz is kind of just a part of an offense that kind of functions pretty well. It's like these kids come up here this year, like Connor Griffin and Valdez, like we were just talking about, and you start getting some other contributions for like Henry Davis does anything measurably better than he did last year. Triolo looks better next year. You have to hope for that. You're going to return a ton of kids. That's exactly what this is going to be.
Well, whether you want to hope for it or not, the Pirates sure are.
But let's say like Nick Gonzalez like continues to progress, and York and Horwitz continues to add to what he can do. Maybe the focus, the highlight, the laser beam that's constantly trained on Oneil Cruz kind of lessens. Maybe there's other people to kind of help lift the weight, and maybe in turn, because we've said this about Reynolds for a while, maybe they're guys that are better suited to be good players on a good team as opposed to the reason the team's good.
Well, very few people can be Batman, right? A lot of guys are better suited to be Robins. So
true. Unfortunately, we're never going to sign a Batman, so you got to develop one. And
we might have a Batman coming,
but it takes time. Even
sure.
even when Batman shows up, he ain't going to have all the tech for a couple years. You know, like the Batmobile don't come along until he's been in it for about 3-4 years. You know, and you don't have the grappling hook until year 5. So there's a whole lot of shit he can't do yet. Well, I'm just saying, like, it takes a while for that, and Cruz will be gone by then. But if you can bury him with, like, even just average performances, little jumps from guys like Nick Gonzalez, Henry Davis, Jared Triolo, all of them. Ryan Reynolds bounced back a little bit. I think you start to defocus on Cruz a little bit. You don't need him to hit 40 home runs. And maybe if he feels like he doesn't need to hit 40 home runs, maybe he hits 40 home runs. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot that has to kind of change with just the pressure system as it comes to the Pirates, because I think they've been trained on him as some kind of a savior too. He's been hitting leadoff. He gets most at bats. He's most important. Shortstop, center field.
Mm-hmm.
De-emphasize, put him in right field, calm down. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and I think, and I know we got to go. If you get the Oneil Cruz that has the career OPS of 734, it's not what you want, but that's still a good ball player in the sense of how he can affect games with his talents. We just can't have the 676 OPS Oneil Cruz and way lower than that actually after the first half of the season. So
true.
Yeah, he's somebody that, hey, we probably already should be having this conversation. He's 27, he'll be 28 soon.
Right.
Or 28 next year during the season. He's probably not going to be that savior that we thought he might be when he was really starting to explode onto the scene in the minors. So
you stop looking at him like that. Just like we eventually evolved on Ke'Bryan Hayes and quit waiting for the power to come out and quit waiting for the average to show up.
Yes.
You just, okay, this is Ke'Bryan Hayes. You get to that point. I'm not saying I'm 100% there yet with Cruz, but I could be.
No, but it's an honest conversation to be having.
Right. Hey man, it was great catching up with you. Good being back with everybody. Thank you for joining us at an odd time, everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I really do. I would have interacted with you more, but my glasses are just really bugging me right now. I can't read out of my right eye at all for some reason.
Actually, Gary, those are just your retinas failing. You're getting to that stage.
Jim, you have no idea. Like I was just telling my wife yesterday, like I'm eating, but I'm like, I haven't been legitimately hungry in probably like 3 weeks. I don't know why. Like I'm not hungry for anything. I don't know you know what I mean? Like I'll eat.
Can you share with me that? I need it.
Well, I would, except like after a couple weeks of it, like when you're like walking past like a hamburger or something and you're like, man, I don't know. it's then you start to go like something's wrong with me. Like, you know what I mean? Last night I finally wanted pizza, wanted it. So I feel so much better today in every single way, shape, and form. And I'm ready for the Steelers to kick some Cincinnati Bengals butt.
Little scary, these away divisional games on a Thursday night. You never know. But I got Josh Allen on a bye, so I got to start Aaron Rodgers tonight. I will report back with how successful that goes.
Oh, I'm so happy that I don't deal with fantasy football at all.
Ben got into a league with his baseball buddies.
And so you're running it for him?
So Dad is, the puppet master behind the scenes.
Well, I see how it works.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's toss it off to our buddy Ben the way we always do.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go back.
Yeah, buddy.